plane of resection. It may be a little bit too vertical, but it actually may be good. So we can go ahead and press the N key again and get out of the quad view, and now we can see that this humeral cut is a little bit on the aggressive side, so I'm going to move it this way a little bit. So now we can see where it intersects the humerus and how we're going to cut it. Now, one of the things we can do here is we can select the humerus and say select targets, make the cut, select the blade, and do the bulling operation. And now we have made the cut on the humerus. Now we have to measure this. That's what we would normally do in a normal situation, but also separate it. We can take the ruler and measure from the top to there, and make sure we rotate and we have a good, and it's about 23 millimeters of resection. We are very close to the cuff here, as you can see, and also maybe a little bit of a vertical cut. If I want to correct this, I can just go Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, and here's my blade again, and I can just move it some so I don't have such an aggressive cut. So I can click on the blade and then move it this way and check my cut again, and it looks like that this might be a little bit of a better cut than before. So again, select the humerus, select it as target, select the blade, and then click bulling, and now we have the cut. If I go ahead and measure again, the resected head is about 20 millimeters, which is pretty good. So I'm going to move this down, and then I'm going to go to edit mode by pressing the tab key on the keyboard. And now I'm on edit mode, and then I'm going to select my lasso, and I'm going to go into this line carefully, select all of this, and now have selected the head that I need to resect, and then I'm going to go separate selected, and that's now a new object. And if I go here, I can just take that off. So this is my resected head, and I can just make it invisible. We can just name it resected head, and I will make it invisible for now. Now I have to put the stem in the humerus and trial, and the way I would do this, I will click on the humerus and go back to quad view. I'm going to move my stem closer to the humerus and try to see if I have a good fit. I'm going to move it down some, and then press N on the keyboard. Now I have to rotate it. So let's see here on this view, I have to rotate it on the Z axis. So I can just press R on the keyboard and then Z, and then rotate it this way. And it has to be about 90 degrees, so that's 94, 95, and 92. It's pretty good right there. Press N on the keyboard and go to quad view again. This needs a little bit of adjustment here. We have too big of a stem, so we're going to go under item. We can see the size of the stem is 94. That's on the very large size. With the stem selected, I press S on the keyboard and I scale it down so I have a good fit with the endosteal canal. And that's a pretty good position, I think, of the stem. Our cut is a little bit tilted this way, so we're going to have to tilt also our stem, so I'm going to rotate it a little bit on this axis, and which is the z-axis. And then this is the cut we have selected, and we're ready now to put the humeral head on, the prosthetic humeral head. Now that we have finished the stem, we can just move the selected stem down to the plan. So I'm going to click on the stem and slide it to the plan. And then I can just make the humeral stems invisible, so we have things organized. Now I'm going to go to the glenoid implants and bring them in place. I don't need to see the humerus now, so we're going to make that invisible and bring the scapula in. Excuse me, I have to use the humerus. We have to be able to use the humerus. So we don't need the glenoid implants because we have finished that. Now we have to bring in the humeral heads. So I'm going to bring them in, and now you can see them. We also have the picture there of the low offset and high offset stems. I don't need that, so I'm going to take that off. And this is also a picture of the sizes that we have there for our reference. We have two types of stems. One is the high offset and then one is the low offset. So if I click this one, it would say low offset, and then that one is the high offset. I think I'm going to try the low offset first. So I'm going to go again to my OrthoMesh 3D and then press the quad view, and then this is the low offset we have decided to trial. I'm going to bring them in closer to the stem, move this so we can see it, and then bring it about to the center of the stem on this view. Press the N key so we can see what we're doing on this side. It looks like we are pretty good in terms of alignment right there. It's just a matter of rotation, and then I'm going to press N again, take the quad view off, and then move everything in the center of the screen so we can see what we're doing. I'm going to rotate this, and then it looks like that I have to rotate it on the y-axis, so I'm going to press R, Y, and I'm going to start rotating it until I match the curvature, actually the angle of resection. And this is a pretty small humeral head, so we need a larger piece. And the way we would do this, we'll go under item, and we can see it's a 39, so I'm going to go ahead and click it and then press S on the keyboard and start scaling it. We go to 44, maybe a little bit higher, 44, let's say probably right in there. That's a 52, it's pretty big, so 48. 48 sounds pretty good for this particular problem. Now if we look this way, we have to tilt our stem some because it's not in the right position. The way we would do this, we just need to rotate it to the appropriate position, which is right in there. I'm going to click on this and then press this key for rotation, and then I'm going to try to tilt it a little bit this way, so we have a good fit with our plane of resection. And this is now the humeral side. So what I need to do now is I need to slide down here the humeral head high offset in the plan, and bring in the scapula along with the glenoid component, which will be under here. We don't want to see everything in terms of the pictures, so I'm going to take those pictures out. this is our, let's see now the stems. We have the stems, but we also have the humeral heads visible, so I don't need to see those. And then from the glenoid components, I don't need to see this circle. It's an object that I used when I was making the glenoid component. Also the circles of resection, we don't need those anymore. So if I just click on those, they will come off. And then take out the X-ray mode. We see the bounds here, so we can just deselect those. Go under viewport display and then take the bounds off. Now we have made an anatomic shoulder replacement, and we can change the color of it, so we can go here and select a different color, let's say red, and go to viewport shading and select object, and then let's make this a different color, let's say a green. And now we have our anatomic shoulder replacement. We need to group these objects together, so the way we're going to do this, we're going to select the head first, then we're going to select the stem by holding down the control key. Then we're going to select the humerus. I'm going to right click on this and say parent object. So if I click on this now and see it from an ortho side view and I move it up, with my move tool I can move this down, and let's pretend that this is an anatomic shoulder replacement in terms of indications, because this model is for a highlighting humeral head, and we used it in a previous lesson for the reverse shoulder arthroplasty. Now if I want to find the center of rotation, it's pretty easy. So the way you would do this is you would select the sphere, that's the center of rotation, which is the prosthetic humeral head. You're going to right click and you're going to say snap cursor to select it. Now that brings the cursor to the center of rotation. And then I'm going to select my humerus. I'm going to right click again and I'm going to say set origin to 3D cursor. And then now if you want to see how this will move, if you select the move tool, and you can see now that we have the rotation of the humerus on the glenoid component. And you can apply all the animations and everything that I discussed with you before about the reverse shoulder replacement in terms of animating this. So if you want to try to animate it some, we can do this really quick. So we're going to put the frame up, the timeline here. Let's do 120 frames. This is the first frame, so I'm going to go over the rotation area, put my cursor on and press the I key on the keyboard. That's the first frame. So inserts the first keyframe. I'm going to go to 120, and then I'm going to rotate only on the x-axis and bring it up, and then press again I on the keyboard for the second keyframe, but before that I have to move the cursor to 120. Now if I press this, you can see that we have the animation of the anatomic shoulder replacement. And you can move this multiple directions and see from any corner you like. And that concludes this section.